Most people believe confidence comes from winning, from being praised, from being seen as important. But that belief is exactly why so many people feel strong on good days and completely broken on bad ones. Because when confidence depends on what happens outside of you, you will always be at the mercy of the world. Real confidence doesn't begin when people approve of you. It begins the moment you stop letting the world decide how you feel. Think about how often your mood changes in a single day. One comment lifts you up. One look brings you down. One message excites you. One silence creates anxiety. None of those things actually change who you are, yet they control you. And the reason they control you is simple. You are reacting. Every reaction is a signal. It tells the world, you have access to me. You can move me. And the world will test that access again and again. Confidence becomes dangerous when that access is removed. The strongest people in any room are rarely the loudest. They don't rush to defend themselves. They don't explain every decision. They don't react instantly to criticism or praise. They pause. They observe. They choose. And that pause is where power lies, because in that space between stimulus and response, you take ownership of yourself. Most people think reacting quickly makes them sharp. In reality, it makes them predictable. If someone knows exactly what will upset you, they control you. If they know what will flatter you, they control you. If they know what will provoke you, they control you. Dangerous confidence is not about showing strength. It's about becoming unmovable. When you stop reacting, something interesting happens. You begin to hear your own thoughts more clearly. You realize that not every comment deserves a response. Not every opinion deserves your energy. Not every battle is worth fighting. And that realization is uncomfortable at first because reacting feels productive. It feels like you're doing something. But often, reacting is just emotional noise disguised as action. The truth is, the more emotionally stable you become, the less entertaining you are to chaos. And chaos hates being ignored. There is a quiet discipline in choosing not to react. It requires self-awareness. It requires patience. And most importantly, it requires a strong sense of identity. Because when you know why you do what you do, outside noise loses its power. You don't need to correct every misunderstanding. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to win every argument. You already know who you are, and people can sense that confidence isn't loud certainty. It's calm clarity. It's walking into situations knowing that even if things don't go your way, you remain intact. Your value doesn't rise with applause or fall with criticism. It stays constant. That constancy is what makes you dangerous, not because you intimidate others, but because you can't be easily shaken. Most people live in reaction mode because they fear silence. Silence forces you to face yourself. It forces you to confront insecurities you've been avoiding. But once you learn to sit in silence without discomfort, reactions lose their grip. You no longer feel the urge to respond immediately, to justify, to defend. You begin to understand that restraint is not weakness, it is control. Imagine two people facing the same challenge. One reacts emotionally, speaks impulsively, burns energy trying to be right. The other listens, absorbs, waits. Who do you trust more? Who feels more confident? The answer is always the one who isn't in a hurry to prove themselves. When you stop reacting, you stop outsourcing your confidence. You take responsibility for your emotional state. You decide how much access the world gets to you. And that decision changes everything. Because now, confidence isn't something you perform. It's something you embody. This doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you become intentional. You still feel emotions, but they no longer control your behavior. You still hear criticism, but it doesn't define you. You still face challenges, but they don't derail you. You respond when it aligns with your values, not when your ego is triggered. And here's the paradox: the less you react, the more people pay attention. Silence creates gravity. Calm creates authority. People lean in when you don't rush to fill the space. They project meaning onto your restraint. Not because you're manipulating them, but because humans instinctively respect. Emotional control. Dangerous confidence is not about dominance. It's about independence. Independence from validation. Independence from approval. Independence from the emotional turbulence of others. When you achieve that, you move differently. You speak differently. You listen differently. And most importantly, you live differently. So if you want real confidence, start here. Pay attention to what triggers you. Notice how often you react without thinking. And the next time you feel that impulse rise, pause, breathe. Ask yourself whether this reaction serves your purpose or steals from it. That single pause, repeated consistently, will change the way you show up in the world. Because the moment you stop reacting to everything, you stop being controlled by anything. Most people mistake confidence for being liked, for being admired, for being accepted. They believe that if they can win enough approval, they will finally feel secure. But the truth is, the world is inconsistent, unpredictable, and often unfair. If your confidence depends on the world, it will always be fragile. Dangerous confidence is not built on what others think it is built, on the certainty of who you are and what you stand for. Or it is an unshakable foundation that no external force can erode. Imagine for a moment the power of silence. Silence is often seen as awkward, as a gap that needs to be filled. We fear it because it exposes us to our own thoughts, and our thoughts are messy. They are full of doubt, insecurity, and untested beliefs. Yet silence is one of the most powerful tools in building confidence. When you do not feel the need to respond to everything, you create space for clarity. You allow yourself to think before speaking. You allow yourself to observe before acting. And in that pause, you reclaim control over your energy, your emotions, and your influence. Reacting to everything gives others control over your day, your decisions, and your sense of self-worth. Every comment that angers you, every criticism that hurts, every slight that you perceive, these are all opportunities you are giving to someone else to shape your inner world. True confidence comes when you realize that your emotional state is yours alone. No one else has the right to trigger you unless you give them that permission. This is not arrogance, this is mastery. This is knowing that the only thing you are responsible for is your response, and once you master that, you become unshakable. Confidence is often tested most when we are confronted by conflict. And conflict comes in many forms: people questioning your decisions, challenging your opinions, or attacking your character. A typical reaction is to defend, to explain, to justify. But defending consumes energy and weakens influence. Explaining communicates uncertainty and invites more scrutiny. Justifying makes you predictable. Dangerous confidence is not about proving others wrong. It is about staying grounded in your values, principles, and purpose, no matter what is said or done. It is about making every action deliberate, not reactive. Consider how much energy is wasted in everyday interaction. Emails that provoke irritation, conversations that ignite frustration, posts online that trigger anger. Each reaction is a drain on your time, your focus, and your clarity. Those who are dangerously confident understand that their energy is finite. They know that every moment spent reacting to nonsense is a moment stolen from creation, growth, and meaningful connection. They protect their energy not out of selfishness, but out of necessity. They understand that influence is not gained by losing your composure, but by maintaining it. When everyone else loses theirs, emotional control is not an innate trait. It is learned, it is practiced. Every moment that you pause before reacting, every time you breathe instead of lash out, every instance where you choose observation over confrontation, you are training your mind. You are rewiring your response system. Over time, these small moments accumulate into a powerful habit. And once it becomes habit, you move through life differently. People notice. They feel the difference. They sense the stability. Thank you, and the calm authority that cannot be manufactured by words alone. When you no longer react to external pressures, you gain a different kind of freedom. You become less predictable, more deliberate, and more influential. People cannot manipulate you with anger, guilt, or flattery because those levers no longer exist. The world can throw chaos at you, but your center remains intact. And this center, this unmovable core, is what makes you dangerous, not in the sense of harming others, but in the sense of becoming unstoppable. True confidence is also contagious. When you remain calm and composed in situations where others panic, people look to you for guidance. When you refuse to react impulsively to criticism, people begin to see a model of emotional intelligence that is rare. When you embody patience in moments of pressure, others are influenced to follow suit. Dangerous confidence is not just a personal asset, it becomes a force multiplier in every environment you enter. Your presence alone begins to elevate the standard of behavior around you to live without reaction requires deep self-awareness. It requires you to know your triggers and understand why they exist. It requires reflection and honesty. You must confront uncomfortable truths about your own insecurities, biases, and tendencies. This process is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Without self-awareness, attempts at confidence are hollow. With self-awareness, confidence becomes grounded in reality, not fantasy. It is no longer dependent on chance or luck. It is anchored in truth. The moment you choose not to react, you also reclaim your time. Every second spent responding to provocations is a second stolen from your growth. When you stop reacting to irrelevant stimuli, you free up mental bandwidth for what truly matters, creating, learning, connecting, and living according to your values. Your actions become intentional. Your words carry weight. Your presence becomes commanding. And all of this stems from the simple decision to pause before you respond. Dangerous confidence is also a shield. It protects you from manipulation, from gossip, from fear, and from regret. When others see that their attempts to provoke you are futile, they shift strategies. They no longer waste energy trying to control you, because it is clear that control is impossible. In this way, confidence becomes a protective force, allowing you to navigate complex social and professional environments without losing composure or purpose. Finally, understand that this journey is ongoing. Confidence is not a destination, it is a practice. Every day presents opportunities to react, to justify, to defend, or to control. Every interaction is a test of your discipline. And every time you choose to pause, observe, and respond with intention, you reinforce your foundation. Over time, these choices compound. What was once difficult becomes second nature. What was once a challenge becomes effortless. And eventually you'll see confidence is no longer just visible, it is palpable. People sense it. They respect it. They're influenced by it. In the end, dangerous confidence is not about arrogance, aggression, or dominance. It is about control, clarity, and calm authority. It is about deciding once and for all that your emotions will not be hijacked by the world, that your energy will not be wasted on what does not serve your purpose, and that your presence will not be dictated by others' expectations or provocations. When you react to nothing, you become free. When you react to nothing, you become unstoppable. When you react to nothing, you become dangerous in the most profound and meaningful sense. Unshakable, grounded, and fully yourself. This is the path. This is the discipline. This is the mindset that transforms ordinary confidence into something that cannot be broken. It is available to anyone who chooses to pause, reflect, and refuse to be moved by anything that does not align with their purpose. And the most remarkable part, once you embrace it, the world begins to work differently for you, not because it changes, but because you have changed. Your confidence, calm, and composure become the standard by which everything else is measured. And in that, discover the true power of reacting to nothing. Most people misunderstand what it means to be confident. They think confidence is about being bold, loud, and unafraid of criticism. They think confidence is about winning every argument proven. Themselves, or impressing everyone around them. But that is a fragile kind of confidence, because it depends entirely on the reactions of others. Real, dangerous confidence is built on a different foundation. It is not dependent on how the world perceives you, it is dependent on how well you know yourself. It is built on clarity, purpose, and a refusal to allow external circumstances to dictate your inner state. When you understand this, you begin to see the world differently. You begin to see that most people are reactive because they have handed over control of their emotions. They are constantly seeking approval, validation, and recognition. Their energy fluctuates with praise, criticism, and attention. They are on a roller coaster, and the track is someone else's design. Dangerous confidence comes when you step off that track and build your own path, one that cannot be disrupted by the highs and lows of others' opinions. One of the most powerful tools in developing dangerous confidence is the ability to observe without reacting. Think about how many moments in your day are wasted on reaction. Someone makes a comment, and you feel a surge of irritation. Someone challenges you, and you feel the urge to defend yourself. Someone criticizes your work, and you feel your self-worth wobble. All of these reactions are automatic. They are habitual, and every time you react automatically, you are giving away your power. You are allowing the world to write the story of your emotion. Now life instead of taking ownership of it yourself. Dangerous confidence does not mean you suppress emotion. It does not mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you become intentional. You feel deeply, but you choose when and how to act. You allow yourself to pause, to reflect, and to respond in alignment with your purpose and values. You recognize that every reaction carries energy, and energy is finite. If you spend it on distractions, on provocations, on negativity, you have less energy left for creation, growth, and meaningful connection. When you prioritize your energy, you begin to move differently. You think differently. You interact differently. You become someone who's not easily manipulated, influenced, or shaken. Another critical aspect of confidence is the ability to remain grounded in silence. Most people fear silence because it exposes them to their own thoughts, insecurities, and self-doubt. They feel the need to fill every gap with words, explanations, or justifications. But silence is not emptiness. Silence is power. Silence allows you to reflect, to strategize, and to observe without interference. Silence allows you to reclaim your control, because in silence, no one else can influence you. The ability to remain calm and composed in the face of chaos is one of the clearest indicators of dangerous confidence. Confidence also requires a clear sense of purpose. When you know why you do what you do, the world's attempts to distract, provoke, or destabilize you lose their effect. Purpose becomes your anchor. When storms come, as they inevitably do, purpose keeps you steady. When criticism arrives, purpose keeps you focused. When doubt creeps in, purpose reminds you of what is true and real. Without purpose, confidence is flimsy. With purpose, confidence becomes unshakable. Most people fail to realize how much influence they surrender through reactive behavior. When you react impulsively, you show the world where you are vulnerable. You show what matters to you, what triggers you, and what upsets you. And the world notices. People learn how to influence you, manipulate you, or derail you. But when you pause, when you choose to respond deliberately, you reclaim that influence. You become unpredictable to others in the most powerful way, because no one can control what you will do next. Emotional discipline is a practice. It requires constant attention, reflection, and repetition. Every time you catch yourself reacting and instead pause, you reinforce the habit. Every time you choose observation over confrontation, you strengthen your self-mastery. Over time, this practice transforms you. You no longer feel controlled by circumstances. You no longer feel compelled to justify yourself. You no longer feel the need to defend your worth or actions at every turn. You move through the world with an intentionality that is magnetic, commanding respect without demanding it. Energy management is another critical component of danger. U.S. confidence. Most people let their energy be dictated by others, the person who interrupts them, the comment that frustrates them, the situation that feels unfair. But confidence is about deciding what deserves your energy and what does not. When you stop reacting to what does not serve your purpose, you free up mental and emotional bandwidth. You begin to focus on growth, on learning, on creation. You begin to dedicate your energy to the things that matter, not the things that simply provoke. And in that focus, confidence becomes a force that cannot be distracted or diluted. The ability to remain unshakable in the face of provocation also creates influence. People instinctively follow those who are steady, calm, and deliberate. They are drawn to individuals who are not tossed around by every wind of circumstance. They respect those who think before they speak, who respond without ego, and who act without need for validation. Dangerous confidence is not about dominating others. It is about mastering yourself in such a way that your presence naturally elevates everyone around you. It is about creating an environment where others can trust, rely on, and respect your judgment because they sense your inner stability. Confidence is not an endpoint. It is not something you achieve and then keep forever without effort. It is a continuous practice. Each day presents opportunities to react or to pause, to be influenced or to remain grounded, to lose energy or to preserve it. Each day presents the challenge of maintaining emotional control in the face of unpredictability. And each day that you choose intentionally, that you choose reflection over reaction, that you choose alignment with your purpose, you strengthen your dangerous confidence. The beauty of this kind of confidence is that it frees you from the tyranny of others' expectations. You no longer live to please everyone. You no longer chase validation. You no longer bend to the whims of circumstance. Instead, you live intentionally, grounded in truth, purpose, and self-mastery. People may challenge you. They may criticize you. They may provoke you. But when you have cultivated this confidence, those things no longer control you. You decide how you will respond, or if you will respond at all. Ultimately, dangerous confidence is the ability to remain centered in chaos, unshaken in criticism, and unprovoked by manipulation. It is the mastery of energy, the practice of silence, the clarity of purpose, and the discipline of emotional control. It is not about being unfeeling. It is about being intentional. It is not about dominance. It is about independence. It is not about reacting to the world. It is about commanding your own inner world. When you choose to live this way, you become a person who cannot be easily moved. You become someone who navigates life with a quiet authority that is magnetic, compelling, and respected. You become dangerous not in the sense of harming others, but in the sense of being unshakable, focused, and fully in command of your own presence. And that is the kind of confidence that changes not only your life, but also the world around you. It begins with a choice to pause, to observe, to reflect, and to act intentionally. Every reaction you resist, every moment of energy you preserve, every instance of silence you embrace strengthens this confidence. Over time, the small decisions compound into a life lived with clarity, purpose, and unshakable power. And once you embody this, the world no longer moves you. You move it. Most people live their lives reacting to what happens to them rather than choosing how they respond. They wake up each day at the mercy of their environment, their emotions, and the opinions of others. A sudden email, a comment, a criticism, or even a compliment can dictate their mood, energy, and behavior. This is why confidence often feels fleeting. It is built on the unstable ground of external approval. Dangerous confidence, the kind that transforms your life, is rooted in something far more stable, mastery over your own reactions. It is a confidence that is internal, unshakable, and impervious to the chaos around you. The first step to cultivating this kind of confidence is understanding that every reaction is a choice. Many people believe that when they feel anger, fear, or frustration, they must express it. They assume that these impulses are uncontrollable. But the truth is, no one forces you to act. The human brain has a remarkable ability to pause, observe, and decide before it responds. That pause is where power lies. When you learn to insert even a brief moment of reflection between stimulus and response, you take ownership of your life. You are no longer a passenger. You are the driver. Most people underestimate the value of emotional control. Reacting impulsively feels natural because it provides instant gratification. It makes you feel heard, validated, or justified. But instant gratification comes at a cost. Every emotional outburst, every reactive decision drains energy, blurs clarity, and diminishes influence. Dangerous confidence is built not on the ability to dominate through reaction, but on the ability to preserve composure and act with intention. This requires discipline. It requires practice. It requires a willingness to endure the discomfort of restraint. The truly confident person does not need to be right. They do not need to defend every opinion, justify every action, or explain every decision. Most people spend enormous amounts of energy trying to correct others' perceptions of them. They feel compelled to argue, debate, and prove themselves. But this is a trap. Every argument you enter out of a need to prove something is a step away from your own power. Confidence is not proven in external victories. It is proven in the mastery of self. When you stop reacting to the need to be right, you become unshakable. You become unpredictable, not in action, but in stability. Silence is one of the most powerful tools in developing dangerous confidence. Many people fear silence because it forces them to confront their own thoughts and feelings. They are uncomfortable with reflection. They fill silence with noise, explanations, or distractions. But silence is not emptiness, it is strategy. In silence, you observe, you assess, and you choose. You learn the difference between what deserves your energy and what does not. You begin to recognize the patterns of those who attempt to provoke or manipulate you, and in that awareness, you reclaim control. Confidence also requires a clear understanding of values and purpose. When you know why you do what you do, no external circumstance can derail you. Challenges become tests of commitment. Criticism becomes a reflection rather than a judgment. And setbacks become lessons rather than failures. People without a clear sense of purpose react impulsively because they have no anchor. They are tossed around by every opinion, every conflict, and every emotional trigger. But when your purpose is clear, you move with intention, and others sense it. Your presence becomes grounding, your voice becomes measured, and your actions carry weight. Managing your energy is another essential aspect of dangerous confidence. Energy is a finite resource, and every reaction consumes it. Most people waste tremendous amounts of energy responding to trivial provocation. Social media noise, office politics, or personal slights. Confidence requires you to recognize that not every battle is yours to fight. Not every comment is worthy of your time. Not every interaction deserves a response. By protecting your energy, you preserve focus for what matters most: growth, creation, and meaningful connection. The more energy you conserve, the more powerful and influential you become. Another key principle is the understanding that reactions can be predictable, and predictability is vulnerability. When others know how you will respond to certain stimuli, they can manipulate you. They can push your buttons, exploit insecurities, and control outcomes. When you learn not to react impulsively, you remove the levers of influence others may have over you. You become a person who cannot be easily manipulated because no one can anticipate your moves. That unpredictability, rooted in emotional control, is one of the most potent forms of influence. The journey to dangerous confidence is ongoing. It is not a single moment of clarity or a one-time decision. Every day presents opportunities to react, to defend, to justify, or to prove yourself. Every day tests your discipline, patience, and self-mastery. And every day you choose pause over impulse, observation over reaction, and intention over instinct. You strengthen your confidence. It compounds, becoming second nature, until responding with control and purpose is your default, not your exception. Fear is the greatest enemy of confidence, and it often masquerades as react. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of missing out. These fears drive impulsive responses. Dangerous confidence is born when you confront these fears directly and refuse to let them dictate your actions. You do not deny fear, you acknowledge it, observe it, and move with awareness. You choose not to react out of fear, but to act in alignment with your purpose. This distinction is subtle but profound. It transforms fear from a controlling force into a guiding signal. True confidence also changes your relationships. People are drawn to those who are stable, calm, and deliberate. When you react to nothing, you create an environment of trust. People know that your decisions are grounded in clarity rather than impulse. Your presence becomes reassuring. Your guidance becomes sought. And your influence becomes natural. Confidence is no longer performative. It is inherent. It is sensed, not declared. It is respected, not demanded. Ultimately, dangerous confidence is not about arrogance or aggression. It is about independence, mastery, and unshakable presence. It is about reclaiming control over your inner world, over your energy, and over your responses. It is about knowing that no external event can dictate your value, your mood, or your direction. When you choose to respond with intention, when you protect your energy, when you ground yourself in purpose, you become more that confident, you become unstoppable. This kind of confidence transforms not just how you feel, but how the world perceives you. It shifts the dynamic of every interaction. People test boundaries, challenge authority, and provoke reactions. But when you react to nothing, the tests lose their power. You command respect not through intimidation, but through presence. You influence not through argument, but through calm clarity. You lead not through ego, but through unshakable self-mastery. The final truth is simple. Confidence is a choice. Every moment offers you the option to react or to pause, to defend or to observe, to be manipulated or to remain grounded. When you choose wisely, consistently, intentionally, you build a foundation that cannot be shaken by chaos, criticism, or circumstance. That foundation is what makes you dangerously confident. That foundation is what allows you to act without fear, speak without defensiveness, and live without compromise. That foundation is what allows you to react to nothing, and in doing so, become truly unstoppable. Most people confuse confidence with visibility. They believe that if they are seen, heard, and acknowledged, they must be confident. But visibility without inner mastery is fragile. You can speak loudly, assert yourself boldly, and win every argument, yet inside, you remain reactive, fragile, and dependent on others' opinions. Dangerous confidence is the opposite. It is quiet, steady, and grounded. It does not need to be announced. It does not crave attention. It does not require validation. Instead, it emanates from the mass. Terry of self, the deliberate control of reactions, energy, and focus. The foundation of this kind of confidence lies in understanding your triggers. Most people are unaware of what provokes them. A single word, a tone of voice, or even a glance can ignite anger, insecurity, or defensiveness. These triggers are like cracks in a wall. If left unexamined, they allow the outside world to seep in and destabilize you. Dangerous confidence begins when you identify these cracks, understand why they exist, and decide not to let them dictate your behavior. Awareness is the first step, but mastery requires action. Awareness without action is still vulnerability. Mastery is choosing not to react even when you feel the impulse. Every reaction carries weight. Every outburst, every defensive comment, every emotional spike takes energy from your purpose. Most people underestimate how much energy is spent simply reacting. They complain about feeling drained, distracted, or overwhelmed, yet they do not recognize that their own reactions are the primary source of this depletion. By choosing to respond deliberately or not at all, you conserve energy for what truly matters. You preserve your mental clarity, emotional balance, and creative potential. Energy becomes a currency, and every reaction is a spending decision. Confident people spend wisely. They do not squander their energy on distractions or provocations. Another critical aspect of dangerous confidence is patience. Patience is often undervalued because it requires delayed gratification. It is easier to react immediately, to defend, to explain, to assert oneself. Immediate responses feel productive, but they are rarely effective. Patience allows you to observe, to listen, and to choose the right moment to act. It allows you to distinguish between noise and signal, between what matters and what does not. Patience does not mean inaction, it means intelligent action. It means responding with intention rather than reflex. And intention is what transforms confidence from ordinary to dangerous. Silence is another powerful ally. Most people fear silence because it forces introspection. Silence forces you to confront doubts, insecurities, and fears. Yet silence is where confidence grows. In the absence of constant reaction, you learn to listen to others, to the world, and most importantly to yourself. Silence teaches you that not every situation requires a response, not every comment requires acknowledgement, and not every challenge demands immediate action. In silence, you discover clarity, perspective, and control. You become someone who can act decisively without being rushed, who can speak with authority without being reactive, and who can influence without imposing. Confidence is also about boundaries. Dangerous confidence comes from knowing what you will tolerate and what you will not. Most people react because they feel their boundaries are being violated. They attempt to justify, explain, or argue in defense of those boundaries. Confident individuals do not need to react to enforce boundaries. They simply enforce them consistently and silently. They know that energy wasted on reactive confrontation is energy stolen from growth, creation, and purpose. By setting clear boundaries and adhering to them without drama, confidence becomes evident, silent, and formidable. Observation is another crucial component. Most people spend their time reacting rather than observing. They respond to insults, flattery, or provocation without understanding context. Observing allows you to see patterns, anticipate challenges, and recognize manipulation before it affects you. It allows you to respond in a measured way, using energy and words where they have impact rather than reacting impulsively. Observation transforms confidence into foresight. It allows you to navigate complex social, professional, and personal landscapes with composure and authority. Self-awareness is at the heart of this practice. Without knowing yourself, your values, your purpose, your emotional tendencies, you cannot truly master your reactions. Most people spend their lives reacting because they have not taken the time to understand themselves. They are guided by impulses, insecurities, and external expectations. Dangerous confidence comes from deep self-knowledge. It comes from understanding your strengths, acknowledging your weaknesses, and aligning every action with your core principles. Self-awareness is not passive reflection. It is active calibration of how you show up in the world. Fear is an ever-present test of confidence. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of loss. These fears often provoke reactive behavior. Most people respond to fear instinctively. They argue, they defend, They overcompensate. Dangerous confidence transforms fear from a controlling force into a guiding signal. It does not eliminate fear, it reframes it. Fear becomes information, not instruction. You acknowledge fear, learn from it, and act with intention despite it. In this way, fear loses its power to provoke. Instead, it becomes a tool for discernment and strategy. The ability to react to nothing is not passive resignation. It is deliberate engagement. It requires discipline, practice, and courage. Every interaction, every challenge, every provocation becomes an opportunity to exercise restraint, patience, and clarity. Each moment of non-reaction compounds into a habit. And habits, when repeated consistently, transform into identity. You do not act reactively because it is who you have become. Your confidence is internalized, it is embodied. It is no longer something you perform. It is something you are. This kind of confidence shifts the dynamics of influence. People instinctively respect those who are unshakable. They are drawn to those who respond deliberately rather than impulsively. They trust those who act from principle rather than emotion. Dangerous confidence is not about dominance or intimidation. It is about presence, stability, and clarity. The way you move, speak, and engage becomes a form of influence that does not need argument or assertion. It commands attention and respect simply because it is grounded, intentional, and deliberate. Ultimately, dangerous confidence is a lifestyle, not a technique. It is built on self-mastery, awareness, patience, energy management, observation, and boundary setting. It is the refusal to surrender your emotional state to the whims of others. It is the discipline to pause before reacting, to act with intention, and to conserve energy for what truly matters. It is the courage to confront fear without being driven by it. It is the clarity to focus on purpose rather than distraction. When you live this way, your life changes. Challenges become tests of resilience rather than sources of stress. Criticism becomes feedback rather than judgment. Conflict becomes an opportunity for strategy rather than chaos. And the world begins to respond differently, not because it has changed, but because you have. Your presence, your composure, and your mastery of self create a magnetic influence that cannot be ignored. The journey to dangerous confidence is continuous. Each day presents new opportunities to react or to pause, to defend, or to observe, to expend energy on noise, or invest it in purpose. Each decision to act intentionally strengthens your foundation. Each moment of restraint compounds into a habit. Each day lived with awareness builds unshakable confidence. And when you reach the point where nothing can provoke you into reaction, where your energy is preserved, where your purpose guides every action, you become more than confident. You become unstoppable, unshakable, and profoundly influential in every aspect of life. As we draw this journey to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on what dangerous confidence truly means. It is not the confidence that is loud, flashy, or dependent on applause. It is not the confidence that reacts, defends, or seeks validation. Dangerous confidence is far quieter, far deeper, and far more powerful. It is the confidence that emerges when you reclaim control of your mind, your energy, and your emotions. It is the confidence that grows when you pause before reacting, when you observe before speaking, and when you act with intention rather than impulse. This is the confidence that transforms ordinary lives into lives of influence, clarity, and unshakable presence. Every rule we have explored: the mastery over reaction, the discipline of silence, the awareness of energy, the patience to observe, the courage to confront fear, and the clarity of purpose serves the same goal: to make you unmovable in a world that constantly tries to shake you. When you learn to react to nothing, you stop giving others the keys to your emotional state. You stop allowing circumstance to dictate your inner world. You stop spending your energy on things that do not align with your values. And in doing so, you step into a power few ever truly understand, a power that is quiet, subtle, and yet profoundly transformative. Understand this: dangerous confidence is not about eliminating emotion or pretending nothing affects you. It is about mastering your response to emotion. It is about feeling deeply but choosing deliberately. It is about recognizing the difference between what deserves your energy and what does not. Every time you choose pause over reaction, reflection over impulse, and purpose over provocation, you strengthen your inner foundation. And that foundation, once solidified, allows you to move through life with calm authority, clarity, and presence that others cannot ignore. The beauty of this confidence is that it is contagious. When you embody it, others notice. They sense, your stability, your clarity, and your intentionality. Your presence alone sets a standard. People respond differently to you not because you demand it, but because your action, your restraint, and your grounded energy naturally influence those around you. You create an environment of trust, respect, and focus simply by mastering yourself. This is the paradox of dangerous confidence. The less reactive you are, the more powerful your influence becomes. So, as you leave today, remember this. Life will always challenge you. People will provoke you. Circumstances will test you. Criticism will come. Praise will arrive. But none of it has the power to shake you unless you allow it. The choice is yours. Will you continue to react, handing over control of your emotions and energy to the world? Or will you pause, reflect, and respond with intention, reclaiming your power and cultivating a confidence so profound that it cannot be shaken? This is not a skill you learn once and forget. It is a lifelong practice. It is a daily commitment to yourself and your purpose. And if you commit to it, if you embrace it, you will not only become confident, you will become dangerous in the truest sense, unshakable, purposeful, and unstoppable. The world will test you, but you will stand firm. You will move with clarity, act with intention, and speak with authority. You will no longer be moved by the chaos around you because your power lies within. And that ultimately is the most dangerous, the most liberating, and the most extraordinary kind of confidence there is.